Hello and welcome to the much requested Top 10 Hollows on Bleach Brave Souls. For this list, I'll be taking a look at every character that has a hollow affiliation, so certain past versions of some characters and Ichigos that do not have a hollow affiliation will not be on this list. With that out of the way, let's begin. Starting things off, we have the fully hollified version of White Ichigo, who in my opinion is one of the coolest characters in this game, both in terms of his appearance and the actual strong attacks, including his strong attack 3, which is a full screen. But while he does have decent stats, at least for a hybrid character, they're not anywhere near as high as some of the other hollows in this game. Not only that, but he also has one of the worst links possible, which requires you to be at low health to even activate. Still, the extra 30% damage across the board is really nice, but the trade-off is just not worth it. And on top of all that, he has an Espada killer, which is a real shame considering it's the worst killer to have right now, though who knows, that may change in the near future. With all that said though, he does have really good range on his normal attacks, really good range on his strong attacks, and one of the best specials in the whole game. It's not only full screen, but White Ichigo also has bombardment, and it inflicts a debilitating burn. Plus, if he's at low health, this does 30% more damage. Now it is going to take a long time till they get to resurrecting him, but when they do, it's going to be an amazing hybrid. Until then though, he is going to stay at number 10. At number 9 is the regular Full Hollow Ichigo, a character that desperately needs a remake. Or does he? Because the one we have now is actually really good. Well, maybe not really good, but when it comes to OG characters, meaning characters that came out in the very first year of this game, this character is definitely up there. He has an attack of 701, as well as a Nadlink and a plus 30 bruiser, effectively increasing his own normal attack damage by 50%. And while his SP isn't up there, he does have one of the more unique strong attack sets, with his strong attack 3 being the most normal out of the bunch. It may not be full screen, but for a first year character, it's definitely not bad range. That said, the other two strong attacks are a bit more unique, with his strong attack 2 being a 160% mag, and his strong attack 1 being a vortex move, which is kind of a double-edged sword because it takes 16 seconds to recharge. But on the other hand, you do have a vortex move on a character whose normal attack does a decent amount of damage. Now some of you may be a bit upset that this character ended up at number 9 and White ended up at number 10, and I understand. White does have better range in both his normal attacks and strong attacks. That said, Ichigo doesn't have terrible range. It just so happened that White's is better. But Ichigo does have a better killer, because an Arrancar killer is more likely to be used than an Espada one. His soul trait's also better, because it's always active as opposed to White's. Maybe before Senkaimon Quest, White might have taken number 9, but both of these things are really useful to have, and come in handy a lot more often. Up next is a character you probably don't even notice doesn't have Frenzy. I'm talking about Senkaimon Aizen, who is the first of hopefully many Senkaimon characters. Now due to the nature of the Senkaimon characters, this character is only going to be on here once, even though it's technically 5 different 6 stars. Now as I mentioned before, you probably don't notice that this character doesn't have Frenzy. This is because he has a really high SP, as well as a plus 60 Berserker. Not only that, but he also has 2 soul traits, one of which is a strong attack damage, and the other is a full stamina damage one. Both of these soul traits combined with the Berserker ability essentially means that he inflicts 100% more damage on his strong attacks as long as his health is full, which is roughly the equivalent of having Frenzy. This Aizen also inflicts debilitating weakening on his normal attacks, special, and his strong attacks 1 and 3. And while having Frenzy does help the probability of inflicting weakening, it would be straight up broken with this character, as his strong attack 1 hits a ridiculous amount of times. So doubling that would just be crazy. This character is also a healer, which is nice because it helps keep one of his soul traits active. Now sadly, he did only make it to number 8 because of his unfortunate Espada killer. It does come in handy in particular situations, such as specific floors in Senkaimon, but other than that, having a Soul Reaper Hollow or a Arrancar killer would be a lot better. 見せてやるぜ、俺の力のすべてを。この一振りで型をつける。月牙天使！ Next up is a character that nobody saw coming, but when he did, everybody was absolutely blown away. This is because Anniversary Ichigo is a game exclusive character. I guess you technically saw a split second of him in the anime, but it's not like you saw him fight. Still, this character is really good. He has a really high SP and a decent attack, plus a plus 40 bruiser. He also has decent range on his strong attacks, though unfortunately none of them are full screen. Though his strong attack 3 is a charge move that gets close to full screen when fully charged. It also doubles in strength and can deal more damage than his special if built correctly. Though if you don't charge it, it does still deal a decent amount of damage, but it doesn't have nearly as good range. Caleb also gave this character plus 2 on Sprinter, meaning he can flash step a total of 3 times, allowing you to maneuver through floors a little bit faster. And if that weren't good enough, Caleb also gave this character a boosted strong attack damage link of 25%, adding not only to his usefulness as a character, but also as a link. Next up is the Lost Agent version of Shinji, who I know has a lower SP than Ichigo, but they do both have the boosted soul trait. More important than that though, and the reason that I put him above Ichigo on this list, is the fact that Shinji has insane range. Not just on his full screen strong attack 3, but also on his ridiculous strong attack 2, that shoots a ball of fire forward and has a probability of inflicting burn. This can be insanely useful in clearing a room fast, in both Senkaimon and Guild Quest. He also has really good range on his strong attack 1, and one of the craziest range on his normal attack. I will say it is really nice of Caleb to give us a Captain Shinji post the Battle of Karakura Town, even though you don't actually see him fight in the anime. You only ever see him fight in the manga, but they gave one to us without him being a manga character. And because he is both a captain and a hollow, he does not have a Soul Reaper affiliation, which can actually work in his favor, due to there being a lot more droplet zones and inheritance zones to have enemies have a Soul Reaper killer, not captain killer. Though the reverse is possible, it's not as likely.
仕方ねえ。よく見とけよ。俺の戦い方を。
Speaking of captain/hollows, here is another one. Kensei also benefits from the same thing as Shinji does when it comes to inheritance zones and droplet zones, and it was also very nice of Caleb to give him to us without actually classifying him as a manga character. He has a really high attack as well as a plus 50 bruiser. He also has a 20% damage reduction link, which make him really good for autoing. His complete paralysis resistance also makes him really good for autoing. And he's got pretty useful strong attacks. Granted, they don't do that much damage due to his low SP, but they're useful to him because they allow him to break guards. Not to mention that all 3 inflict damage in an area around Kensei, which kinda also helps with his autoing, because as long as he's using any strong attack, enemies can't really sneak up behind him, since they'd also be hurt. Kensei also has a Soul Reaper killer, which right now is the best killer to have. All of this make Kensei a pretty powerful character, though also pretty basic. It's not necessarily a bad thing, I'm just kinda pointing it out. Still, it would have been nice to have a Kensei that we didn't have an attribute for already, and maybe even one with Bankai, since we know what it looks like and what it can do. So hint hint Caleb, get on it.
ようやくまともにやり合う気になったようだな。
Next up is my third favorite character in the entire game, White Zangetsu, who yes, I am aware has a lower attack than Kensei. However, it is not by that much, and White Zangetsu has his normal attack damage link, on top of an already plus 50 bruiser, effectively making his attack actually stronger. So ha! Also, he has a really fast Nad string, as well as insane range. But that's not the reason he's so high up. The reason he's so high up is because Caleb nailed this normal attack character, giving him debilitating weakening on all of his strong attacks, as well as giving him strong attacks that perfectly fit with this character. His strong attack 1 is a lunge move, his strong attack 2 is a vortex move that encompasses him and almost doubles as a shield while dealing damage, and his strong attack 3 is a hybrid vortex move that puts all enemies in one spot before hitting them one final time. This attack is perfect because it leaves enemies in one place, which is perfect for the oncoming onslaught of normal attacks. Finally, there's this character special. It may not deal that much damage because he doesn't have that high of an SP, and it may not deal debilitating weakening, but it does deal defense weakening, which is just as good because it allows this character to deal more damage on the upcoming attacks. I can't believe I was disappointed when I heard this character was not gonna be an SP character. Oh, what a fool I was.
調子に乗ってられんのもまだ来るぞ。 なこと。
Up next is the newest iteration of Shinji, and likely the last one we get before the Can't Fear Your Own World one. This Shinji has a ridiculously high SP, as well as frenzy and debilitating confusion on all of his attacks, which by the way look amazing. His strong attack 3 is full screen and it's one of the most beautiful things ever. His strong attack 2 also has some pretty crazy range, and looks like something off of Kingdom Hearts. And then there's his strong attack 1, which is basically a crawling vortex that encompasses Shinji, though probably doesn't go as far as one. Shinji also has a 20% damage reduction and a Soul Reaper killer, but what's truly special about this character is that after Shinji uses his special, he transforms. Kind of, he just puts on a mask. But this has a very similar effect to manga Yoruichi and manga Kenpachi in that it transforms their attacks from a 120% mag to a 150% mag. And don't forget, these have frenzy. Similar to theirs, it also brings the attacks back, allowing you to, in theory, use 6 strong attacks in a row, and when he transforms back into regular Shinji, they come back again. I really do wish they would have implemented this in Kensei, but that's what the game gets for not hiring me. Next up we have Sosuke Aizen, 4th Fusion Edition, who held the title of highest SP for a short while. Though he may no longer have that title, it's still really high, and he has frenzy, which make him really dangerous. Now yes, Shinji's is higher, and he can deal more damage, especially when he's transformed, but the reason Aizen made it higher is due to his ability of being a support character. Aizen has a strong attack recharge link, and building him correctly can result in an infinite boost because his strong attack 2 is a boost move. Plus he has Enhancer, so you can pretty much spam this and make his attack pretty much over 800 at all times. And since he has a plus 40 bruiser, his normal attacks really don't go to waste. So you can really make this character in a variety of different ways, all while supporting your team. And if that weren't bad enough, his special also has a chance of instant killing the enemies, which at this point is just icing on the cake. Also his special looks really cool, just saying.
そろそろ私の冷圧に耐えられなくなってきた頃か。
What's better than 2nd Fusion and 4th Fusion? 3rd Fusion, apparently. It's the Aizen that nobody really asked for, but no one really complained. Also, no one really saw coming. But this Aizen is by far the strongest hollow in this game, as he has the 2nd highest SP across the board, and the highest overall when it comes to characters with frenzy. Now this character is absolutely amazing, and not just because of the high SP. They also made him a strong attack recharge character, meaning you can spam his strong attacks, which by the way, all inflict debilitating weakening. This is particularly devastating because his strong attack 2 is a crawling vortex move, which really helps with racking up the combo and helps keep enemies away from you, which is basically how this character is supposed to be played, since he's a ranged character. Speaking of which, his normal attack is also ranged and can also inflict debilitating weakening, which is actually crazy because the last 2 strings on the normal attack are piercing and have a 360% mag each. Now we've seen this before on characters such as Ryuken, the Bond Ichigo, and the Bond Uryu, but we've never seen one do 2 in a row. So this is definitely something unique to him, at least for now. This character is also immune to freezing, which I don't really get and doesn't really make any sense, but hey, free ability is free ability. Still, while the freeze immunity and the unique NAD link are pretty cool, the real reason that he made it so high up is because of the ridiculous SP and the debilitating weakening. It's no 1000-year Blood War Aizen, but it'll do for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more top 10 lists.